Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is September the 11th. It's a Thursday today, day after PPI overall markets. We just came off of all-time highs and good numbers. Markets, you can see, are rallying here in the pre-market once again. We do have core CPI that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So same thing as yesterday. We'll just wait for the first 30 minutes. We'll go over some charts and then until CPI hits. And then after that, we will develop our game plan from there. Before we get started, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, True. Good morning, Wayne. B Roots. Monty, Victor, Under. Good morning, Andreas, Nantali, Hartik, Arnold, 50, Joseph, Martin, Willie. Good morning, Captain, Cinna, Life, Tan, I am, Juan, Robert. Good morning, Ryan, Jen, Luz. What's up, Miss Reggie? Good morning, Chris, SL. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. First things first, what do we have on the agenda today? Let's go over, let me actually just pull this up. Let me go into Forex Factory. Before we get started here, let me actually get this done too. Okay, so yeah, coming into market open, we do have a bunch of things at 8:30. We have unemployment along with core CPI. We had core PPI yesterday, which was the big one. We have core CPI here today as well, which are very important numbers. And then, of course, tomorrow we're going to have consumer sentiment. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, as I mentioned, we're just going to go over some charts for the first 30 minutes. And then we'll wait for that CPI. Potentially that might change our game plan coming to market open, and then we'll see from there. Before we get started, if you guys do enjoy these, appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the free watch list in the description below, you guys can do so. And then for the event, I saw some questions about the event as well. You will get more updates. The event is later into the month. I'll talk about it more on my next video. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Let's first start off on the ES. So ES here, this is your 1 hour time frame. Let's just go into this. So as you can see here for the ES, the key levels that we have marked out coming into yesterday was our 6520 along with our all-time highs being our 6540. So what we wanted to see really here was the reaction that we have off of your previous all-time highs coming into yesterday. So this is the key level that we have marked out. You can see right off the bat, we kind of just consolidated, never made a new high, but came back down to retest key levels. You can see a couple buyers stepping in off of your 6540, but ultimately broke back underneath and came all the way back down in towards that 6520 coming into end of day. But now you can see the buyers are stepping in, and now we're reclaiming back above this 6540. So coming into today, it's going to be the exact same levels as yesterday. Your previous all-time highs, 6540. What we like to see is really maintain above this level if you want to see a potential continue push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. So this is going to be the key level coming into today here for the ES, your previous all-time highs. If you look at the SPY chart, very similar thesis here. The key levels that we can have marked out is going to be that previous all-time high. So previous all-time highs, 652. You can see this is a very key level on the chart. Multiple touches yesterday, broke underneath, but now we're reclaiming in the after hours along with the pre-market. So as long as you can maintain really above your 652, we like to see it continue back up and towards your previous day highs and above. A lot of the moves have been happening later into the session or in the pre-market or in the after hours. So it has made it for a little bit of a trickier New York Open for the past, I'd say, a week and a half. So for the overall indices, key levels, we're just going to be a little bit patient, but 652, and then we can also now mark out your previous day highs along with your all-time highs here as well. As for the overall NASDAQ, key levels that we have marked out is still your all-time highs, which has not been hit. So key level is this previous all-time highs pivot point. That we wanted to see markets gravitate towards yesterday, but currently, right, was not able to hit that. So key levels that we have marked out is basically the area that we broke down from. You can see we end up having that retest right off that bat. Coming into market open, you could see some buyers stepping in, but ultimately kind of faded and came back towards the downside. Higher time frames are still intact, as you can see here on the ES, along with the NQ. But key levels, exact same thing as yesterday, is going to be that 23,900. You can see how many touches we've had off this general level. Now for the overall indices, right, for the NQ specifically, retest off of your 23,900 for this continued push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. So key level is going to be that previous day close along with your higher time frame key pivot point. If you look at the QQQ, Q's actually made a brand new all-time highs yesterday in the pre-market, was not able to get above your all-time highs. You can see a couple of rejections off this level, end up showing weakness basically all day. So for the Qs, ES as well, right? Of course, the Qs is a little bit more weaker, but key levels that we have marked out is going to be your previous all-time highs, 553, and now we also have that previous day close, which is also that flat top level. So for the QQQ coming into market open, we have a few scenarios here. Number one is going to be the break back above your previous all-time highs for this continued push towards the upside. Another scenario, if we come all the way back down and towards that 581, we could be looking for the bounce off your 581 previous day close for this continued push back towards the upside here. So that's what we have for specifically the Qs coming into market open. As for shorts, yesterday, we talked about the key level being your 652. I'm not really interested in looking for downside positions just because we are at all-time highs. So it'd have to break really for me underneath your 652 at a minimum. And for the QQQ now, it'd have to break back underneath your 580, preferably all the way actually back at this 578. So that's what I have for the overall indices coming into market open. As for some of the tech names, let's first talk about Tesla. Key levels on Tesla that we have marked out is just basically inside of a range the past few sessions, but it's been respecting levels fairly nicely. Key levels that we have marked out is our 356 along with this 345. So this is the key levels that I have marked out. Let me remove these ones. As you can see, we're just marking out this week's range, which is Monday's price action all the way into yesterday's price action. If you want to see some upside, you have to see that break above your 356. So for some upside, break above that 356. For some downside, it's going to be the break underneath that 345. Right now, you can see we're basically right in between the middle of the range. So you can also draw at this level here as well. We could be looking for the hold of that 350. Just remember, if we're trading in between the range, right, trading in between equilibrium, it is going to be a little bit more difficult just because we're inside of this range that we've created. So for Tesla, preferably breaking outside your previous day highs or below your previous day lows, but we're right in between the range. So keep an eye out on this 350 key level, which also happens to be your previous day close, right? You could be looking for the mini kind of bounce play off that 350. So that's what I have for Tesla. I do like this one still on the higher time frames, as long as you can break above that 355. You can see we're building up liquidity, multiple touches, flat top forming here as well, multiple touches this week. Another touch yesterday, right? We're building up liquidity on Tesla. If we can get that break above that 350 here on the 1 hour time frame, I think Tesla can have a nice push up and towards 360 and above. So as long as we hold key levels, I'm still leaning a little bit more towards the upside. If we can break above that 355, that's going to be key for continuation towards the upside. So we'll keep an eye out on Tesla. Let's mark out some alerts here as well. Let's go on to NVIDIA now. So NVIDIA, nice kind of push right off the bat, kind of consolidated the rest of the day. But for NVIDIA, this one, higher time frames, is now shaping up for a move similar to the rest of the tickers, a push back up and towards your all-time highs. So for NVIDIA, if we remove some drawings here, what we can have marked out is your all-time highs. You can see we reclaimed back above that earnings low, which was very key. And now we're driving back towards the upside. If now we can break above your previous day highs, really the next level that I have marked out is going to be your all-time highs here on NVIDIA. So what we'll mark out coming into market open is going to be your previous day highs and key levels. So let's go back onto the lower time frames. So for NVIDIA, you can see a nice little gap up yesterday, just a little bit more consolidation. But now what we like to see is a potential move up and towards your previous day highs and above. So levels that I have marked out coming into market open. Let me actually just refine some of the levels that I have here as well. You can refine this. So for NVIDIA coming into market open, key levels that I have marked out is going to be your previous day highs 179. We also do have your 176.50 here. So coming to market open, what I'd like to see is one of two things. Number one scenario, break above your previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. Another scenario, consolidation around this 178, push up and towards that previous day highs for continuation. Or if price came all the way back down in towards that 176, you could be looking for the bounce off your 176 previous day lows. So for NVIDIA, either scenario, I personally like the first two for continuation towards your previous day highs or above your previous day highs. As I mentioned, if you can get above that level, there is room up and towards 180 and above, and then eventually that all-time highs, which there's a lot of liquidity being built up there. So NVIDIA, we'll keep an eye out on this ticker coming to market open. As for AMD, this one had news yesterday with Oracle. This one ended up having a nice push up in the pre-market and then a couple of reactions coming to market open, and nothing really happened the rest of the day. So kind of just a drop right off the bat, rejection off this 162. Sellers kind of staying heavy and just push price right back towards the downside. As for now, AMD, the key level that we have is just going to be this gap fill. So it's just going to come right back down in towards this gap fill, 156, which is the gap that we created from yesterday. As for levels, I'll definitely have to refine them. Let me actually do this really quick. So just refine this level down in towards that 158, multiple touches back here as well. So for AMD coming to market open, if you want to see any sort of upside, really it's going to be that hold and reclaim back above that 158 for a potential move back towards the upside. So this is going to be the key level that we have marked out, 158. As for Apple, we talked about this one showing a little bit of relative weakness compared to the overall indices, and now we end up having that nice push towards the downside. So for Apple, key levels that we have marked out is basically this news candle low that we created, and now you can see Apple just end up pushing lower. Key levels now all the way back down in towards that 225. So for Apple, big push down from that news event that we had. Another push down you can see here as well. So far, we've been consolidating in the after hours along with the pre-market. What we like to see is a potential kind of pop and fade for a push down in towards that 225. Key levels that I have marked out is going to be this 227. So if you can get underneath this 227, then we can see a potential bigger move down in towards that 225. So that's what I have for Apple coming to market open. As for some upside on Apple, right, we are coming down into key level support. So I would like to see the buyers step in really off this 225. So that's the key level that we have on Apple. As for Microsoft, really not too much to talk about here, just kind of ranging in between 510 along with this 500 key psych. And then for other tickers like Meta, similar thing here. So a lot of these tech names are just kind of consolidating, whereas the QQQ is making a brand new high. Most of the other names that are leading are things like Oracle, right, up 40%. AVGO is at all-time highs. Palantir's having some nice moves. So we're focusing more on some of these growth names instead of the tech names, just because tech's kind of lagging behind the overall indices. As for Google is something we can keep an eye out on, just because overall higher time frame is still very much bullish, intact, and in a very clear trend. Yesterday it came all the way back down in towards that Monday's lows that I talked about. Nice little bounce off that Monday's lows for a pushback towards the upside. Now the key levels that we're going to have marked out is that 240. So two scenarios here on Google: reclaim back above that 240.50 for that push towards the upside, or now what we'd like to see is retest all the way back down and towards that Monday's high, which is going to be that 238. So two scenarios here for Google. As for Amazon, levels that we have marked out, 236. Ultimately, Amazon really hasn't had a clear trend. It's been slowly moving back up and towards your all-time highs. Been a little bit more difficult to day trade this one, but key level 236, broke underneath it. Now you can see we end up having a bigger push towards the downside. So not really too much to talk about on this one here as well. And then similar to Netflix, just not really doing too much, consolidating above this above this 1250. So let me go over the SPY and Qs once more. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over now, I'll go over them for the next 15 minutes until we have core CPI. All right. All right, what's up, everyone? Good morning. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the free watch list in the description below, that's always where I go over my game plan every single morning. Also, if you guys haven't joined the event that's coming up at the end of the month as well, you guys can join the wait list for that. Sorry. All right, let me scroll up here. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Do, do, do. Finally, in module 9 and accelerated emotional part finally making sense. Thank you for helping me learn things about myself. I just ordered the 2 books you recommended. Nice. Yeah, those are some good reads. Let me go for some names here. Oracle, first thing, this one gapped up in the overall markets with earnings. Nice opening drive. So I talked about this one yesterday for an earnings play, kind of this IV flush right off the bat. So you had that first candle dip, and then you can see kind of just taking off right off the bat. These contracts move nicely. Ended up moving, I think they went from like 4 to 16 in about 10 or 12 minutes or so. Spread was pretty wide on these, but nice kind of opening drive towards the upside. Key level, as you can see, is going to be that pre-market level, whereas you can see multiple touches. This is the only time I use these pre-market highs is when there's a lot of volume on a day like this, where right we have earnings, multiple touches, a lot of volume as well. You can see later into the session end up retesting this level very nicely. So for something like Oracle coming into market open, key levels that you're going to have marked out 322 and now also your previous day high. So currently we're kind of right in between this range here. What we like to see is one of two things, right? The dip down in towards that 324 for that continued push towards the upside, or now similar thing, right? Opening range, if we can break above, right? Potential move back up and towards your previous day highs. So that's what we have on Oracle. Key level 324 if you want to see some more upside in the overall markets. As for some other tickers, AVGO, we also talked about this one for potential move up and towards your all-time highs, which is your 355. This one right off the bat, nice push above your previous day highs up and towards your all-time highs. This retest would have been solid if it could have came back just a little bit more, but this one just came back down, and then you end up having this nice continued push towards the upside. Key levels I have marked out for AVGO coming into market open is going to be your previous day highs 372. So coming into market open, really nice push towards the upside, as you can see here. Now the levels that I have marked out is really that 372, and technically all the way back down in towards that really this 357. So this is the level I have here on the higher time frames. What I like to see coming into market open is consolidation, push up in towards that previous day highs level, or if it pushes higher right off the bat, you could be looking for the retest off of your 372 for a continuation towards the upside. So that's what I have for AVGO coming to market open. As for Palantir, this one ended up having a nice push higher here as well. So for Palantir, this one has room back up in towards your 170, 150, which is the area that we broke down from. So for Palantir, nice consolidation yesterday after the gap up. Key levels is just going to be your previous day highs. So your previous day highs is going to be key here. Let's just mark out this level, which is your 168. You can drag this over. So coming to market open, what we like to see here for Palantir is one of two things, right? Dip down in towards your 160, continuation towards the upside, or now it's going to be the break above your 168.20s, previous day high level for continuation towards the upside. So we really like to see the break now above your previous day highs. We do have room towards 170 and the next level above, which will be that 171 if we can get above that level. So that's what we have for Palantir. As for other tickers, Hood recently hit all-time highs, and now we're having a little bit of reaction. Key levels that I have marked out yesterday was this previous day high level, and then we also had your pre-market highs, and then we had other levels intraday. But for Hood, a little bit of a pullback after hitting your brand new all-time highs. If we go onto the 1 hour time frame, this is a super healthy pullback. If you're looking at this, right, nice high that's being put in. Hood's coming right back down into key retest level. I'd like to see this level really hold for Hood for a continued pushback towards the upside. So as you can see here, this is the level that we can have marked out. Let me actually just mark this. As for hood, the key levels that we're going to have marked out is going to be your high that we created here on Monday. So the high that we created here on Monday, we can just drag this over. This is our key level of support now since we broke above it. It's our 117.50. Previous level of resistance now turning into support. So we like to see, at least on the 1 hour chart, maintain above your 117.50s for continuation towards the upside. So this would be a higher time frame, essentially retest on the 1 hour chart. As you can see, break, retest. We like to see this level hold for this continued push back up and towards your 120 and above. As for SoFi, a little bit of reactions, not able to close above your 2640s. You can see these kind of upper wicks here. So until we're able to close above strong, I'll be a little bit more cautious. But until we're then, right, we'll be looking for the break above 2640 continuation. Right now, we're currently just still inside of this range, as you can see here. All right, let me look at the chat. Let me see this. Let me scroll up. Should we wait a little bit before trading the open because of news or a lot of liquidity, sweeps, and fake outs? At least trading the open the past week and a half, it's been a lot more difficult. So I personally haven't taken any trades, or I've been a lot more cautious throughout the first 15 minutes of market open. Usually, if you have a higher time frame thesis or if you have news, you can be a little bit more aggressive. Of course, the news drops at 8:30. So by the time market opens, we've already had an hour and the market already usually digests the news. ARM. Good morning. Just want to say that I appreciate all you do. Watching these videos every day has been a game changer to my trading and understanding for the markets. You're a blessing. Appreciate that. Let's scroll down. Palantir went over that one. As for ARM, this one, higher time frames. Key level that we have is this gap. So for ARM, let me actually just remove a bunch of things here. But for ARM, let me actually keep this. We have this gap back up and towards your 160. So if I remove all this, key levels that we have marked out is your 161, which is that full gap. We also have key levels here, which is going to be that 153, and then we could also mark out your previous day high. So coming to this market open, we like to see it really maintain above that 153 for that continued push towards the upside. Really nice push yesterday, breaking above key pivot points. This one, a potential earnings reversal play here as well. So a lot of these semis shaping up nicely here, along with TSM and MU. So we'll take a look at some of these semis a little bit more here. Okay. Let's take a look at MU and TSM. So these ones are actually pushing higher here in the pre-market. Let's see what's happening with TSM. So for MU, if we're looking at this on the higher time frames, we finally have breaking outside of this consolidation period. And so far you can see once we've broken out, we're starting to trend nicely towards the upside. Next levels really for MU that I have is going to be this all-time high. So you can see once we broke outside of this, that's when we had a nice push higher. Key levels for MU now going to be your all-time highs, 156. Other levels that we can have marked out, we're going to have to go into the daily time frame, is going to be this right here, which is your 143.30s. So now let's go back onto the lower time frames here. As for MU, so levels coming into today, levels that we can have marked out. Let's just mark out your previous day lows along with your high that we created here on Tuesday. This level, of course, is not going to be as useful since now we already had such a big move towards the upside. Next levels I really have marked out is this 143 along with this 142. So what I like to see is now a hold of your 143. It's a little bit of a bigger level, but what I like to see now, hold above your previous day highs along with this 143.30 key level for continuation towards the upside. So this is the level that we can have marked out on MU. If we zoom out on the 1 hour chart, this one, really nice push towards the upside as long as we maintain above key levels, hold structure. We can expect this one to eventually gravitate up and towards your all-time highs, 156 here. As for TSM, another one of these that is at all-time highs, nice base above your previous all-time highs, consolidation, and then break towards the upside. Now for TSM, key levels that we have marked out, it's just going to be intraday levels. In this case, we can mark out your previous day lows. We can also mark out your high that we created here on Tuesday. and these are the key levels moving forward. So for TSM, preferably the hold of your previous day lows, continuation towards the upside. If you break underneath this level, then it's going to be all the way back down and towards that 254. So for TSM, keep an eye out on your previous day lows for a push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. Okay, let me scroll down here as well. We also do have some news in about 3 minutes here. So we have core CPI in about 3 minutes. Let me go over some other tickers. Open. This one had some news regarding a brand new CEO. You can see reacting very nicely here in the after hours, but this one's just holding up key levels. Levels that we have marked out, which is this old previous pivot point, which is from a few days ago. This was from August. Once we broke above this level, you can see now using this level as support, and then we end up having some news as well pushing this higher. So the best case is when kind of technicals also aligns with news. That's when the best moves happen. So in this case for open, key levels that we have marked out, if you're looking at this on the chart, if we have to scroll back. So we have to scroll back here on the weekly time frame. Key levels that we can have marked out, we can actually just mark out this key pivot weekly high, and then we can mark out the next one, which is going to be all the way up and towards that 871. So if we go back onto the lower time frames here, at least on the 15-minute, key levels that I have marked out coming into today is just going to be your key pivot highs, which we can mark out this. And we can also mark out your 780s along with your 870s along with your 780s. So in this case for open, you kind of have this retest here from Monday's price action. Nice kind of hold here in the pre-market. Now we just like to see this continue push back up and towards your pre-market highs and above, which will be your 870 here. Okay, let's see. IWM. As for IWM, we're holding up nicely so far. So we're consolidating here, basing above this 235.50. What I like to see now for IWM, hold above your 235.50 for a push up and towards your 239 and above. Next levels towards the upside is going to be that 241. So for IWM, this is shaping up nicely here. If you were to draw this out, building up liquidity on both sides. If now we can break outside of this, we can see a nice continued push back up and towards your 239 here and above. So that's what we have for IWM. AMD went over those ones, went over most names here as well. As for Shopify, Shopify has really just been consolidating after this earnings big push towards the upside. Really hasn't done too much. I thought we'd get a little bit of a nicer move if you could reclaim back above your 144, but ultimately a little bit more consolidation. So reclaim still back above your 144 is going to be key here on this ticker. Okay, we have CPI in about 30 seconds here. Maybe I should just grab some water. All right, so we have CPI here in a few seconds. As always, if you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the watch list, that's in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the waitlist for the event coming up at the end of the month, that's also in the description below as well. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so for the actual numbers here for CPI. So core CPI basically came in as forecasted. CPI month over month came in basically actual forecasted here as well. And then for year over year. So basically neutral all around. As for the unemployment, came a little bit higher than expected, 263 compared to the forecasted, which was their 235. So you can see for the overall market on the higher time frames, we actually just came right back down into key levels of support. And now you can see we're having a nice little reaction here on the overall market. So on the higher time frames, you can see holding still just wick down right in towards your previous all-time highs level, and I can see we're continuing to push back towards the upside. So if we're looking at the overall indices here now, we had core PPI yesterday, now we had core CPI today. We're holding above the key levels that I talked about. It's going to make it for a little bit of another tough open, just because, right, pretty big volatility here in the pre-market. We'll see what shapes up coming into market open. But now the levels are that 652, and now we can also mark out your previous day highs here. So we actually just touched two key levels here in the pre-market within about a minute. So previous all-time highs, and now we also have your previous day highs, which is going to be that 654. If you want to see upside, what we like to see is now the break above your 654, continuation towards the upside. So that's going to be the number one scenario that we'll be looking for longs. Another scenario, consolidation, push up in towards your previous day highs and above. So that's what we have for SPY. For the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 583. So as you can see here, what we have marked out is that previous pivot point. We also have your previous all-time highs here as well. So similar thing with the Qs. What we like to see, consolidation, opening range break towards the upside, towards your previous day highs and above. Another scenario, break above your previous day highs, continuation towards the upside. Also, if we very much well reject off this area, potentially we can just consolidate if we reject off this 583. So that's also a possible scenario here as well. All right, so for my watches coming into market open, Tesla in the middle of the range. So we'll see what shapes up. As I mentioned on the higher time frames, at least on the 1 hour chart, I am still very much bullish on Tesla and intact for a potential move higher. Take it a little bit longer, but as you can see, building up higher lows. Liquidity is being built up here as well. As long as you can maintain above these higher lows, what I would like to see is that flat top, big push towards the upside, retest, continuation. If we can break above that 356, we can see a move higher. What's going to invalidate this setup is now if we break underneath its previous day lows. If we break underneath its previous day lows, then I'm no longer as bullish on Tesla. Right now, I'm currently neutral, but leaning a little bit more towards the upside. As for NVIDIA, this one we could be looking for continuation right off the bat. Key levels that we have marked out, previous day highs, equilibrium along with their previous day lows. This one, if it stays strong, we can be looking for continuation. As for a few tickers, it does seem like the market. So yeah, market just went from key levels right up and towards your previous all-time highs, a little bit of rejection here in the pre-market, and now we're coming back down right in towards key levels. So we have our previous day close here. We also have higher time frame level of support. So I do expect this level to try and defend, at least on the higher time frames on both the SPY and the Qs. As for some names, I'm interested for a little bit more downside here. Keep an eye out on Apple along with AMD. Key levels that I have marked out on AMD is going to be that previous day lows. If you can maintain below your previous day lows, potential move down and towards your gap fill that we have on the higher time frames, plus level of support really all the way back down and towards your 155. So keep an eye out on AMD. As for Apple, this one showing some weakness in the past couple of days. Overall market's dropping here as well. Apple has room down in towards that 225. So if you could look for Apple coming to market open, break underneath that 226 now, we could be looking for a push down in towards your previous day lows and below. So that's what we have for Apple. So we'll keep that in mind if the market does want to drop here. And then the rest of the tech names, let's take a look at these here really quickly. A couple names still kind of holding up, not really too much that I see here. Let's see. Yeah, so for the overall market, we're just kind of right back at key levels of support in between yesterday's range. So we'll see what shapes up within the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes. That's been the thing. That's been the theme for the past week and a half. So we're going to still be a little bit more patient coming to market open. If there's any names with relative strength or relative weakness, we can use that to our advantage. But besides that, nothing really shaping up on the overall indices themselves. As for NVIDIA and Tesla, preferably NVIDIA, this one's holding up with this gap yesterday. We'll see if this one can move potentially back up and towards your previous day highs. As for some of these growth names that we're taking a look at here, These ones are now just consolidating as well. So for Oracle and AVGO, I do expect a little bit more consolidation right off the bat, but we could see an opening drive play towards your previous day highs on both Oracle and AVGO. So we'll be waiting for now intraday price action, and we're going to mark out that first candle of market open, which is going to be that 5-minute opening range for a potential move up and towards your previous day highs. As for Palantir, I also like this one as well for, as I mentioned, the hold of your 166, or now it's going to be the break above your previous day highs for continuation higher. So coming into market open, I don't really see too much, at least on the tech side. So be cautious, focus on the SPY and Qs. The levels are fairly clear, right? 583, which is your previous all-time highs. And we have your key level support, which is your 581. And then for the SPY, the key levels is going to be your previous all-time highs, 652. So with the market showing a little bit of more weakness now, I'm still gonna look for longs, or I'm gonna lean more towards the upside if we're above your previous all-time highs, which is your 652. If we consolidate here, break underneath that 652, that's when I'm gonna lean a little bit more towards the downside. Breaking underneath the CPI low, right? This is your previous all-time highs here as well. So that's the only way I flip or lean more towards the downside, is if you can break underneath the 652. If you look at the ES, the key level in this case is going to be this 6540s. If, as long as we maintain above this level, I'm still bullish. As you can see, higher lows are being built. We can expect this to continue towards the upside. If it breaks underneath this level, right, then we can potentially look for continuation lower. If we can have a market structure shift towards the downside, we could potentially see a move down in towards that this key pivot low, which is that 6520. But besides then, I'm still leaning more towards the upside just based off of the higher time frames, and we are closer to all-time highs. So that's what I have for the overall indices. Let me just do a quick scan once again. So yeah, and then Apple leaning a little bit more towards the downside, so you can pay attention to that. So coming into market open, that's really what I have. Same game plan as per usual the past few days. We're just going to wait for that first 15 to 30 minutes to develop. Any trade you've most likely taken in the past week and a half or 2 weeks within the first 15 to 30 minutes has definitely been a lot more difficult, just because there hasn't been too much volatility. A lot of the moves have been happening either in the after hours or in the pre-market, or even closer to market close, which usually shapes up for a little bit more of a difficult New York Open. So that's what I have for the overall indices. I laid out the game plan. So if you guys missed it, you guys can rewind this, or you can join the watch list. I always post like a short 3 to 4 minute video recapping what I mentioned here in the pre-market. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. What else do I have? Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. If you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the watch list, that's in the description below. Of course, for the wait list for the event that's coming up at the end of the month as well. If you guys want to be the first ones to get updated on that, that one is in the description below as well. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now, and I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone. Have a good rest of the day. Peace.